We're back, friends, with you know who, Jason Blaha, friends. We're gonna do a reaction video to our favorite crazy YouTuber, Jason Blaha, the gym lifting, recruiting, fitness gear slave himself, Blaha. So Blaha says progressive overload is a requirement for muscle growth. Definitely helps for sure.
Progressive overload is absolutely required for muscle growth. And again, it's a point people try to argue who don't understand the concept. They don't understand what's going on, and they'll say things like, well, as long as we get a pump, as long as we do this, as long as we do that.
Isn't that what he keeps advocating? Pumps and doing this and doing that. Do that, do this, do that, do this, do this, do that.
We're going to have muscle growth, and the answer is no. Without progressive overload, you are simply not trying.
That's what he says. What type of progressive overload? Concentric overload? You can concentrically overload those muscles as much as you want, but guess what? Ain't nothing going on over there, bro. Just like everybody else, every other gym rat in the garage, lifting in the garage, those muscles are not budging, Borowski.
Training hard enough to gain muscle. And what I mean is, if you were training hard enough to gain muscle, okay? And
holy shit, was he actually lowering it without dropping it? Is he doing bodybuilding deadlifts? Oh my God.
let's say, let's not even talk about cheating. Let's say, you do the hardest versions of every exercise. You do nothing but extremely long range of motion movements, controlled, all of this stuff. So let's put all those variables aside. So let's go with everything. A lot of the pro bodybuilders will say that, well, no, we need long range of motion. We need controlled eccentrics. No.
Bodybuilders lift to try to cause micro damages. That's why they lift weights. They lift it in a controlled manner, relatively very heavy, and there's mechanical tension. There's a lot of tension going on there. It's not about lifting a weight and dropping it and lifting it and doing weird stuff. That isn't real. That isn't, you could call that, that's based on performance. That's why people say strength training. That's based on performance. And that genre, they call it, what do they call it? Strength training. But in bodybuilding, we're trying to build our bodies big and strong so it never gets injured. You can punch through walls, punch through punching bags, punch through people if you need to. Why are bodybuilders so strong? Real bodybuilders. I'm not talking about drug addicts, dude. People that are faking it cosmetically. I'm talking about people that build their body using real bodybuilding techniques. You understand me, man? So yeah, because people get taken out of context. They still think in their puny brains, they think that bodybuilding is based on performance. It's not a performance, bro. It compromises performance. So how the fuck can it be performance? So people going to the gym performing, you're going there to do what? Perform like Blaha. Look, Blaha is a performer. He's on this channel performing. That's why his body is not building. That's why he has to fake it cosmetically with steroids, because in his puny brain, he thinks that bodybuilding is based on performance, and it is not.
Cheating. So let's say you take that approach, okay? And you were training hard enough with high quality sets that are very close to failure or to failure.
Again, that's based on performance.
Would you like to
training hard enough with high quality sets that are very close to failure?
Again, that's based on performance. If you're training to failure, you're a performer. Bodybuilding is not about training to failure. These are not things that are in your mind. When you're training to damage muscle, it's not performance, bro. You're not performing. Believe me, you're not gonna want to perform, and you're not performing. Just trust me. But like I said, there are people that want to perform. They go to gyms. They think it's all about performance. Running around, holding a heavy weight, walking back and forth like Alpha Destiny, walking across the room with his arms up in the air, holding like dumbbells and, throwing heavy weight up and down against gravity, doing stupid, ridiculous shit.
Or to failure. Or even beyond failure.
Look, this is performance.
Okay? You will have to gain reps or gain weight.
Look, this is performance. What is the purpose of doing this? of doing this. He's going down and sitting on a box and then going up. What we don't do that as bodybuilders. As a bodybuilder, you want to focus on eccentric exercise, so you're going to go all the way down to the bottom. But the problem is, it's extremely uncomfortable trying to go down with like 4 or 5 plates. If you try to go down with 4 or 5 plates, it's uncomfortable for people. I mean, natural. I'm talking about normal people, not drug addicts. It's uncomfortable, okay? The most people can manage sometimes is like, 315 maybe. If they can rep it for 10 reps, I don't know. It depends, right? And I'm talking about ass to grass and coming back up. So that is not based on performance. That is based on trying to damage your muscles, and it's going to compromise your performance, believe me. Because if you do multiple sets, ass to grass, 10 repetitions, let's say you did 20, I don't know, 15 sets of 10 repetitions. Wow. That's gonna really that's gonna compromise your performance, believe me. That's gonna cause a lot of micro tears.
If you're gaining muscle, it is impossible for you not to. Okay, let me state that again, because you're now training everything strict. There's no way to cheat weights up. So what we know based upon all the available evidence,
I could tell you this much, man. I'm fucking hurting. It is 5 in the morning here, 5 in the morning, and I am fucking hurting from my session on the weekend. I did my legs on, because I switched. I usually do upper body first, then legs. I do my legs first, because whatever. I do my legs first on Saturday, and I do my upper body on Sunday. And it is Tuesday, 5 in the morning, and I'm fucking hurting. To tell you the truth, I don't really do my inner thigh. So I went on a machine, and I just went all out to do my inner thighs, and they're fucking hurting, bro. Holy shit. They fucking kill. Because I've never done them before. I always forego doing the inner thigh area. People say with the inner thigh, it accentuates your leg. It makes it look bigger, because most people don't do inner thighs. Could be right. Yeah, I don't know.
A bigger muscle has more strength potential. Well, if you're working hard, strength potential means...
A bigger muscle has more strength potential, yes. But if you're a power lifter, your sarcomeres are shortening to produce more force in that direction, going against gravity. Going with gravity, when you go with gravity, guess what? Muscles get bigger, and they also get very strong, and they can produce force. But if you're only going in one direction, you're going in the opposite direction of gravity, then your muscles are going to shorten. I think really people it's hard for them to just fathom this. They can't understand it. Science will corroborate everything I say. It is associated with a loss of sarcomeres in series when you push weight against gravity. Do you understand me? So think about it like this. When you go in space, you float. You float. Get it? There's no gravity. Guess what happens? You shrink. Your muscles shrink. They get smaller. Okay, when you land on planet Earth, gravity is pulling you down. Guess what happens? Your muscles get bigger. They get bigger. Okay, so when you move weight in the opposite direction with gravity, eccentrically with gravity, your muscles get bigger. Get it? Yeah. Now, when you go against gravity in the opposite direction, they get shorter. They get smaller. So you don't grow muscles lifting concentrically if they're getting smaller. How the fuck could you be getting bigger? Oh, I know. I got a stronger, but I never got a bigger. You know those people that complain, they go, I got a stronger, but I didn't get a bigger. You didn't get a bigger, you're also shrinking. Here's another problem. So then there's some people that get muscle damage, and definitely the muscle damage, they try to work through it and their muscles shrink. They lose these sarcomeres. But here's the thing. So people go in the gym and they lift concentrically and they go heavier and heavier and heavier. And then they can't figure out why they're getting smaller. They're like, bro, I'm getting smaller. My muscles are getting smaller. So then they start eating carbohydrates to blow up, to pretend that they're getting bigger, pretend big. Get it? They can't understand why they're getting smaller because concentric exercise is associated with a loss of sarcomeres in cities. Get it? Get it? So when people show me that they're lifting heavy weights and then they try to pose in the camera and go, look, I look big and pumped and all this, they're full of shit. They're full of cooties. Their muscles are full of cooties, cotton, and gumballs. Get it? There isn't any muscle there. They're lying. They're full of shit. They went and ate a bunch of carbohydrates and blew up, got the pump. A pump is not associated with building muscles. Damages and soreness, that's associated with building muscles.
You will gain more reps. In other words, you're going to either add reps infinitely or you're going to have to put some more weight on the barbell, dumbbell, or machine. You have no other choice because otherwise the sets become easy, in which case they're obviously not stimulating any growth. So that's kind of a conundrum with that idea when people say, well, no, you just have to do X or Y. Well, maybe you've heard that from a bunch of guys who use metric tons of anabolics, who have great genetics, but for every...
They got tons of anabolics. They have great genetics. They injected plant genetics. They have great genetics. How do they have great genetics? Oh, because they bought them at the corner store. They bought these great genetics called Anavar, Sustanon, D-Ball. Yeah, sure. Guess what? If the concentric exercise lifting didn't work for them then, right, and it got their muscles to get smaller, then what makes you think that taking steroids are going to make them grow bigger lifting concentrically? You have to be a fool like Blaha to believe that. See what I mean? What is happening there is the sarcoplasm is increasing. That's what's happening. That's all they're doing. The muscles have gotten smaller, lifting concentrically. This concentric lifting, comfortable lifting slaves, because they don't like to get damaged. They don't like eccentric exercises because it's uncomfortable. And if you're uncomfortable, you cannot build real muscles. Can steroids aid you in lifting heavier to damage muscles in the eccentric to build real muscles? Yes, it can. It can do that. But it itself cannot build muscles. Steroids cannot build muscles, okay?
Everybody else. No, you're going to have to progressively overload. If you're going to have to, you have no choice.
If you progressively overload concentrically, your muscles will shrink. They'll get smaller. They will get smaller.
Otherwise, if you really were gaining muscle, let's say your strict incline bench, right? Where you pause.
Especially if you do like these 1 RPMs or whatever, these 1 rep sets or 3 reps, or the 5x5. The 5x5 definitely you're gonna get small. Now, if it was like a 5x10, maybe something could happen, a little bit extra, but I really doubt it.
On the chest. So there is no real way to cheat. You're pausing on the chest, right? Like I'm doing there. If your chest and your triceps are growing,
Yeah.
you're not going to be doing this.
If your chest and your biceps are growing, or whatever the fuck he's talking about, or triceps are growing, yes. How are they growing exactly? What's making them grow? What's making them grow?
Same easy set. You're eventually going to add reps. Why? Because you'll get stronger by default. So
You'll add reps because you're getting stronger by default. You'll add reps because the nervous system, you understand me, and these motor units are being recruited because you've overloaded it, definitely in the concentric lift, because none of you are doing eccentric exercises. See what I mean?
in other words,
Because you want to perform. You want to look cool in the gym. You want to be the guy that could bench press the heaviest weight and be tiny and small. You want to be the small guy lifting the heavy weight, running around and going and showing the big guys that, look, I'm a small, strong guy. The big, strong guys, they don't care that you're a small, strong guy. Get it? See what I mean?
If you're still doing 135, let's say for sets of 10, and you never increase it, if you actually trained hard enough with that to gain muscle, it will eventually start getting too easy. It will get easy enough to where you won't gain any muscle from it because it's just not hard. In other words,
It'll get easy enough where you're not gaining muscle from it? No, it's getting easier because the nervous system is being turned on. Get it? Yeah. And then the muscles are getting smaller because the heavier loads on the muscles shrink. They get smaller concentrically lifting. Remember, they get bigger eccentrically. They get smaller concentrically. See what I mean? Because the contraction is shorter. Now, the contraction in eccentric is longer. So if it's longer, they're going to get bigger. Get it? Now, if it's shorter, then they're going to get shorter. See what I mean?
I think we can make the fair case. I think we can make a fair case based upon observing the real world.
How can somebody that's been lifting for 30 years like Blaha not understand this fucking? You have to be brain dead not to understand this.
The best bodybuilders for decades, generations.
The best fake bodybuilders, Blaha? Like who? Mike Idiot Menzer? If all his fucking garbage lifting shit, whatever he talked about worked, then why did he have to take steroids? Why doesn't he show us how it works naturally? That faggot.
And looking at what we know in the lab. Okay?
And I meant faggot that he smokes cigarettes. It's an English word. It's an English word I'm using. He smokes too many of these faggots, these cigarettes, these English cigarettes.
We can make the assumption that we probably need to be around within 5 reps of failure. If we have more than about 4 to 5 reps, and I'm talking at the most, like that's even pushing it. Yeah, in other words, if there's a weight that if you were to really push it to the edge, you could do 15 reps and you stop at 10, you're probably not gaining any muscle from it. That's big.
How can you gain any muscle from concentric lifting? It shortens. The heavier you go, the more it shrinks. The shorter it gets. Fuck me, man. Does he not understand this?
Probably a useless set. It's really just a warm-up.
And there's very, very little micro damage in the muscle there, if anything. See what I mean? So, here's the thing. Can muscles get micro damaged lifting concentrically? Can they get micro damaged? Can they get it? Possibly yes. But very minute. Extremely minute, okay? Very, very, very minute. And so that's why people complain. They don't understand why they got a stronger and they're not getting a bigger. You got a stronger concentrically, but you'll never get a bigger, ever. And if you do, it's minor. It's very minor. There's maybe something, little bit, something, I don't know. It has to be very intense. Then it has to be very intense, a lot of lifting. Number 2, if you are getting bigger, you're eating carbohydrates, you're not getting bigger, your muscles aren't getting bigger. You're just getting the sarcoplasm, the volume of the sarcoplasm to expand, to get bigger. That's all. So you never got any physical strength. So are you prone to injury? Yes, because you don't have any muscles. So you're prone to getting injured. If you do anything eccentrically heavy and you're not accustomed to it, you'll fucking injure yourself and tear your muscles off the bone. You're going to have all kinds of problems all the time. You'll always suffer from injuries lifting concentrically heavy because you have foregoed the eccentric lifts, the eccentric overload.
And I want to be clear, I'm not saying you have to train to failure to gain muscle, because you don't seem to have to.
No, you don't have to train to failure to gain muscle concentrically lifting, because if you do, you're still not going to build any muscle. You're just wasting your time.
It produces really good growth, though, when you do.
No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. He's making that up. Because it would show on his body if it did.
And I think there's a pretty reasonable consensus on the fact that anything beyond
Mitsubishi Motors. When the snowplow hasn't come yet,
and I think there's a pretty pretty reasonable consensus on the fact that anything beyond that, I think almost everybody agrees, right? I don't care whether it's a pure bodybuilding bro, anyone who looks at the science. I think everyone agrees. You start getting
The science already tells you. I can prove it. I always post it in my community section, bro. Man, I can bury these fake gurus with all the scientific information. I can literally bury them. There's so much, bro. There's so much out there. You just bury these people. They cower and run away.
about 5, 6 reps away from failure. It is doing nothing for your muscle growth. It just isn't. Because the training is simply not hard enough to cause any significant adaptation. It's just not. Because
No, it's not that your exercises are not hard enough. They are hard. But it's like you're skating uphill. Who the fuck wants to skate uphill? You understand me? Doesn't make any sense. You skating uphill, dude. Concentric exercises are just, they shorten your muscles. You lose sarcomeres. You lose sarcomeres because of the shortening, and it trying to exude more force production. You're a performing slave, so you have to figure out what you want to do. Do you want to build your body big and strong and then get really strong at concentric as well lifting? Or do you want to stay there and lift concentrically and be small and weak? So you want to be small and weak, but lift a heavy weight. Be good at lifting concentrically. Now people are going to argue with me. They're going to say, but I'm strong. I'm strong because I can lift concentrically a heavy weight. I can bench it. I can do this and that. I can prove that you're weak. You want to know why? Because if I overload those same weights and give them to you to lower them eccentrically, you'll get fucking damaged, bro. Get it? You may get an injury and then fuck off. You understand me? I'll make you lift them eccentrically, the same weights that you're doing concentrically, and believe me, you'll get injured and you'll fuck off. That's it. You'll be done. Your career's over. You won't be lifting anymore. Get it? You'll fucking tear the muscles right off your shoulders, your arms, your bones everywhere. Your fucking chest tech pairs fucking tearing off the bone everywhere. See what I mean? So, are you strong? No, because you're weak. Because you're weak. You go to an arm wrestling competition doing this stupid concentric lifting, you think you're strong. All these stupid power lifters and everything, they don't realize their muscles have shortened. They're short. And so they go there and then they tear muscles, they hurt their ligaments, tendons, they get broken bones, whatever the fuck's going on there. They lose all the time. Here's another thing. Larry Wheels, here's an example. Larry Wheels. So he did a bodybuilding competition, right? Okay. He's a power lifter. He takes steroids to lift heavy weights because he can't lift them himself. He has to take steroids to lift a heavy weight to impress you because he's a performer. So he did some bodybuilding competition. Then he went to the Golden Griddle, and he gained more than he lost. He gained like 53 pounds in 1 week. Are you telling me that's 53 pounds of muscle he gained in 1 week? Who gains 53 pounds of muscle in 1 week? Nobody. So what did he gain? Nothing. He expanded the sarcoplasm. You understand me? The muscles that he has underneath there are small. They're short because he does a lot of concentric lifting. He's a power lifter, Larry Wheels. He doesn't really have any muscle. Now you understand? So it's not associated with muscle growth, concentric lifting. So that's why people take steroids. They want to look the part. They think, well, I'm small, but I'm strong. But I need to look the part. I need to look big and strong. But concentric exercise is not associated with fucking size.
that's the whole point with this, with progressive overload. You have to disrupt homeostasis. The human body doesn't like to gain muscle. Gaining muscle is hard for us.
No, it doesn't. You have to disrupt homeostasis. The body doesn't want to build muscle. It's hard. No, it doesn't want to build concentrically. That's what it doesn't want to. It shortens to give you more of that force production concentrically. It builds when it gets damaged concentrically, going down with gravity. Shithead.
Like, we gain endurance extremely easy as a species, and a lot of people don't know this, that
We gain endurance easily as a species. Well, yeah, we could run for long distances, but it's uncomfortable and we don't like it. I've done marathons. I don't like to run anymore. Too old.
very much an endurance-based species. Most other animals are stronger than us pound for pound, right? They tend to be stronger than us pound for pound. They really are.
Why? Because they're bigger. Listen to Blaha. Animals are stronger than us pound for pound. Yeah, they're bigger. They're bigger. They're heavier. Tigers weigh like 750 pounds. What's the average human weigh? What's the average human weigh? A man, like a grown man, 200? 200 pounds? Come on, man.
We're really good at endurance. So much so, I think people forget that.
We're good at endurance because we're light on our feet. Listen, man, a tiger weighs 750 pounds. You think he's going to be good at doing endurance carrying 750 pounds around? The average human is weighing between 130 to 200 pounds or something, whatever, average. So you tell me, oh, are humans good at running long distances? Well, if you're carrying very low body weight, can you run a long distance? Yeah. But what if you weighed 750 pounds? How do you think you would feel running long distances, huh? Huh? Fucking blah, stupid. Animals are massive creatures. Deers, antelopes, fucking bison and shit, tigers, these cats and everything. They're heavy, they're big creatures. They carry a lot of body weight. See what I mean? That's why they're not good at endurance. Takes up a lot of energy. They're massive creatures.
The fact that endurance hunting used to be a thing. That's even how we tamed wild horses originally as a species. We ran them down on foot. Now people say that there's no way you can run a horse down. People who run all the time can.
Well, there's no way you can run a horse down. You can run a horse down long distance. Why? Because the horse will conk out. He can only run for so long. He's a massive creature. He requires water and he eats plants. He's a plant eater. He needs to eat. He needs energy. Christ. Blah is really stupid. Man, it's no wonder his brain is, I don't know where his brain. A fucking horse. You know how much a horse weighs? Man, like 10 times a human.
It might take them 6 hours to run it down, but that horse will tire before a distance runner will. Right? We're talking humans that are
Of course. It's kind of obvious.
more natural habitat, not that people who don't exercise. We're an endurance species.
There you go. When's the last time you saw, I don't know, a 5, 6, 700 pound human run a long distance marathon at 700 pounds? Not.
Gaining muscle's hard for us. Like our body does.
Gaining muscle is very easy for us as long as we move in the opposite direction eccentrically, overloading the weights eccentrically with gravity.
It is resistant to gaining muscle. It really is. And if
It
you
is absolutely not resistant. It builds when it's a necessity. Anything that you were to do that you're unaccustomed to doing eccentrically, your muscles will build. It has to because it's the protective effect. It's protecting you from becoming damaged. So it repairs and remodels a lot stronger so you don't get injured.
don't understand, simply look at a chimpanzee or a gorilla who doesn't lift weights at all.
See, he's talking because he realized all this concentric exercise does not build muscles. He still hasn't figured that out, that concentric exercise do not build muscles. They actually shrink them. They make them shorter to exude more force production. So in his puny brain, Blaha's brain, he's like, we can't gain muscle. It's really hard. Homeostasis, this and that. Boo, 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 boo. Ga, 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 ga. Do, 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 do. Get it? Ga, ga, do, do.
Look how jacked they are. Just to put it into perspective.
Now he's talking about monkey. Now he's talking about monkeys. Look how jacked they are. Look how jacked they are. What do you mean jacked? They don't lift weights, bro. They live in nature. They're animals, you fool.
These are animals with a fairly high genetic overlap with us. They're relatively similar. But
They're not similar to us whatsoever. We are not monkeys or apes. We're human beings. We are not similar to them at all whatsoever.
notice that difference. They don't lift weights to look like bodybuilders.
They don't need to. They don't need to. We're domesticated. Have you seen a human in nature what they really, really, really look like? These other people now that you say, oh, they live in these villages, these people in these small villages or whatever, they too are living somewhat unnatural as well. There's nobody natural out there anymore in the wild.
They don't. So, by comparison, yeah, so we struggle with it. So you have to disrupt that homeostasis. And if we're not putting our body into a situation to where it feels that it is going to get injured if we do not add more tissue proteins to a muscle, because that's really what it is. It is a defense against injury. It's a defense against that chronic stress.
Yeah, that injury would be eccentric. That's where muscles get injured, eccentrically. Oh, man, Blaha's really stubborn, isn't he? He's so hung up over the concentric and we're not building any muscles.
You're placing on it, or your body saying, oh, we have to do this. Or
He just can't handle to give in to Master T, to Genetic Beast, and give in and say, you know what? That fucking guy, Genetic Beast, was right all the time. He's not crazy at all. You know, he's made videos about me. He talks about me. He'd just say, "Oh, that guy, he's crazy." Okay, if I'm crazy, what's Blaha? Ask yourself this question, you guys. If I'm crazy, Genetic Beast, and I bring out all the scientific proof and I tell you exactly how real lifting really works, who's more crazy? Me, who does eccentric exercise. I don't fuck around. I do eccentric exercise and I build my body big and strong, and I don't complain. Or this guy who does concentric lifting that keeps complaining about it's impossible to build muscles. And he continues in that behavior, even though he noticed it's not building anything. He keeps doing it forever and ever and ever and ever and ever. So who's more crazy? The guy keep trying for 30 years trying to make concentric exercises build a muscle, which they don't build muscles, or the guy that does eccentric exercise, which does build muscles. So who's more crazy, him or me? Huh?
we're going to get hurt because it's metabolically expensive to gain muscle. It costs calories, it uses calories. We're kind
No, it doesn't. It's not metabolically expensive to build muscles, and they don't require a lot of maintenance once they're built. You don't need to eat a lot. You need to eat protein. Protein synthesis needs to exceed that breakdown, but you don't need to eat that much. Once they're damaged, you should eat a lot, but no.
of built to survive famines and ice ages. We're built to survive starvation very effectively. Gaining a bunch of muscle is not beneficial to that end. Okay? So you have to disrupt the homeostasis, and that means you have to progressively overload. Because if you don't, so if you were training hard enough to gain muscle, you'll stop gaining muscle if you don't progress because the work is just too
But you're not gaining any muscle lifting concentrically. That's the problem. Everybody in the gym is a concentric lifter.
easy at that point. And that's the idea. So there needs to be a general increase.
So what do? They pretend by taking creatine, TRT SARMs, man, I don't know, modulators, turkesterone, GO2 max, and all this weird shit. Then they take hard gainers. They don't realize those hard gainers, when you're taking them, you're just increasing the sarcoplasm. Again, you're just getting fat. And then there's, of course, the bulk diets, and then the lean bulk diet, the fat bulk diet, this, that, whatever, bro. They fake it, man. It's crazy.
In like your
So
tonnage
who's more crazy? You guys, them, or me?
and stuff. Assuming you're not changing the form to do it. I'm assuming the same form, the same range of motion, all those things. I'm not talking about cheating to add more reps, or more weight.
Yeah, sure.
Right? We're talking using the exact same form. You've got to get more total tension on the muscle, either in the form of repetitions or in the form of actual resistance.
Sure.
Otherwise, you will simply stagnate. That's it. That's the simple reality of it. And you don't get that. People say, well, I'm not progressing. Well, you're not being patient enough. Or you're not training hard enough, obviously. One of the two. Or you're not recovering. That's usually your situation. All right, something in your
You're not training enough, or you're not recovering. What are you recovering from? Or you're not training enough. That's a good one, too.
diet and lifestyle is not dialed in. All right, guys, but that's really all I have to say on
Or your lifestyle is just not dialed in, broski. Well, there you go. There you have it. I'll see you in the next one. Ciao, friends. Don't you think about the like, subscribe, support the channel. This is pure failure. This guy is the epitome of insanity, bro. This guy is insane, man.